We see in this chapter, Matthew 14, verse 22.
आमी पळयता मॅथ्यूच्या शुभ वर्तमानांत 14व्या विस्वरान 22व्या वळीन
The situation where Jesus walks on water.
परिस्थिती जेन्ना जेजू उदकार चलता.
Just before this situation,
ही परिस्थिती घडच्या आदी
the disciples,
शिश
from verse 13 till verse 21,
13 वळींसान 21व्या वळ पर्यंत
they have a great moment.
वर्त वेळ आसता तेंचो.
A great moment.
वर्त वेळ.
And what is that?
आनी कितें काय तो वेळ?
They see a miracle.
ती मिलाग्रा पळयता.
They see 5,000 men alone, plus women, plus children being fed.
ते पळयता की 5,000 दादलेच आनी मागीर बायलो आनी भुरग्यांकूय जेवण फाव करता जेजू.
Some of them say it could be 20, maybe 15, 20,000 people.
थोडे लोक म्हणटा जायत घडये 15 ना जाल्यार 20 ना 25,000 लेगीत लोक.
It was a glorious moment.
मोहिमेवंत वेळ आसलोलो तो.
Great miracle.
वर्ते मिलाग्र.
There was excitement in the air.
उर्बा कशी आसलेली वाऱ्यार.
Okay. And then we see
आनी मागीर आमी पळयता
in verse 22 what happens.
22व्या वळीन कितें जाता तें.
Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat.
मी रोखडेच जेजून शिष्यांक बोटीन चडोंक लायलें.
There was a glorious moment.
मोहिमेवंत वेळ आसलोलो.
People were excited.
लोक सारके उर्बेन बोललेले.
They saw a great miracle.
तिनी वर्ते मिलाग्र पळयलेले.
But do you see something happening now?
पूण तुमी कितें पळयता काय हिंगासर घडटा तें?
Jesus doesn't sit at that place.
जेजू त्याच जाग्यार बसून रावना.
Jesus doesn't wait there.
जेजू थंयच रावना.
Immediately,
रोखडोच
he makes his disciples move ahead, move on.
तो आपल्या शिष्यांक मुखार वचोंक लायता.
He tells them it's time to go on.
तो तिंका सांगता मुखार वचपाचो वेळ येयलो आसा.
Now, since Jesus is telling them,
आता जेजू तिंका सांगता जावन करून
it's time to go.
वेळ येयलो आसा वचपाक.
What should happen?
कितें काय घडोंक जाय?
Jesus is saying, right?
जेजू सांगता न्हू आतां.
So everything should be good.
सगळें बरें आसूंक जाय.
Everything should go perfect.
सगळें सारकें उत्तम वचोंक जाय.
But what happens
पूण
is,
कितें जाता जाणा?
instead of things going good,
वस्ती बऱ्यो वयच्या
they begin to see a storm.
ती वादळ पळोवंक लागता.
Okay? They see a storm.
ती वादळ पळयता.
And in that storm,
आनी त्या वादळान
see what happens.
पळय कितें जाता तें.
Verse 22 and 23. Can you read, please?
Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there.
Okay. So what we see,
तो हांगासर आमी हें पळयता.
he tells the disciples, you go,
तो आपल्या शिष्यांक सांगता तुमी वचात.
and he goes another way.
आनी तो दुसरे वटेन वयता.
He goes to pray.
तो मागणी करूंक वयता.
The disciples now
शिष्य आतां
are facing a storm.
ते वादळाचो फुडो कोत्ता.
There's a storm, the boat is being tossed. If you see, it says in verse 24, read 24 please.
But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary.
The wind was contrary, or the wind was against it.
आतां वारें आसलेलें ते नेटान मारताले, आड आसलेले वडेच्या.
Everything seemed right now in that boat, all the disciples, they seemed confusion.
आतां सगळीं शिष्य आसा ते बोटीन आसा ते सगळे
seem to
कोफसान
be
कशे आसा.
Problems,
ते त्रासान आसा.
chaos.
आकांत.
But Jesus sent them.
पूण जेजून तेंकां धाडलेलें.
Jesus made them go.
जेजून तेंकां वचोंक लायलेलें.
And now they are in that boat.
आनी आतां ते त्या व्हड्यान आसा.
It's okay. Jesus sends is okay.
आतां जेजून धाडलें तें बरें आसा.
But now
पूण आतां
Jesus has sent them.
जेजून तेंकां धाडलेलें आसा.
Jesus is not there.
आनी जेजूच ना हातून.
Don't we in our lives problems,
आमचे जेन्ना त्रास येता आमच्या
when
जिवितांत,
situations get difficult,
जेन्ना परिस्थिती कठीण जाता,
don't we put a question sometimes in our mind?
आमी हो प्रश्न घालना काय आमच्या मतीन,
God,
देवा,
where are you?
हुंय आसा काय तूं?
Where are you?
हुंय आसा तूं?
I'm in this problem.
हांव ह्या त्रासान आसा.
I'm going through a difficult time.
हांव कठीण वेळासान पासार जाता.
I can't feel you.
म्हाका दिसना तूं.
I don't sense you.
तूं आसा कसो दिसना म्हाका.
Can you not see I'm in a situation?
तुका दिश्टी पडना काय हांव ह्या परिस्थितीन आसा?
These disciples,
हे शिष्यांक पळोवंक
they are
गेले.
in a storm,
ते वादळान
left
सापडलेले
alone.
आसा. एकसुरे.
it seems that Jesus is not there.
अशें दिसता की जेजू ना थंय.
He's not in that place to help them.
तो ना त्या जागी तांकां आदार दिवपाक.
But if you look into Mark's gospel,
मार्काच्या शुभ वर्तमानान पळोवंक गेल्यार,
in Mark's gospel,
मार्काच्या शुभ वर्तमानान
chapter 6 verse 48. Mark's gospel chapter 6 verse 48.
Then he saw them straining at rowing, for the wind was against them. Now about the fourth watch of the night.
He says, now when he saw,
आनी अशें म्हटलें जेन्ना तेणें पळयलें तांकां,
you see, though Jesus was not physically with them,
जेजू कुडीन जायत गोल तेंचे थंय नासलोलो
but
तेंच्या
wherever
सांगाता,
he was,
पूण ज्या जाग्यार तो आसलोलो,
his eyes were on them.
तेजी नदर तेंचेर आसलेली.
You see, no matter what your situation is,
परिस्थिती तुजी कितें आसूं,
no matter what your crises are,
कितेंय तुजें आकांत आसूं,
remember one thing,
उगडास तर एक वस्त,
his eyes are on you.
तेजे दोळे तुजेर आसा.
You may feel that nobody stands with you.
तुका दिसता जायत गोल कोण तुजे सांगात उबो ना.
You may feel that God himself has forsaken you.
तुका दिसता जायत गोल की ध्यान तुका सांडलेलो आसा.
But these are only feelings.
पूण ही फक्त तुज्यो भावना.
The reality is,
सोत म्हटल्यार
God's eyes are fixed on you.
देवाची नदर तुजेर थीर आसा.
Jesus,
जेजू,
though he told them you move on,
तेम तिंका सांगले जायत गोल की तुमी वसा
and
म्हणून,
though he left them
आनी
alone,
तिंका एकसुरे सांडले जायत गोरी,
he was there on that mountain top
तो पर्वताचेर आसलोलो त्या,
praying,
मागणी
but
करतालो,
his eyes were on them.
पूण तेजी नदर तेंचेर
You know what's
आसलेली.
the beauty of having God on our side?
तुम्ही जाण कितें सोबीत काय ती देव आसा तो आमचे वटेन.
When we read the Bible,
जेन्ना बायबल वाचता,
in 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5.
For there is one God and one mediator between God and man, the man Jesus Christ.
There is one mediator
एक मदलो मनीस आसा,
between God and man,
देवा मदेगात आनी मनशा मदेगात,
the man Jesus Christ.
मनीस जेजू क्रिस्त.
The beauty of having Jesus for us
सोबीत काय की जेजू आमच्या सांगात आसा,
and we following him
आनी आमी तेजो पाठलाग करता जावन करूं,
is that he represents yours and my case.
की तो प्रतिनिधी जावन आसा तुजो आनी म्हाजो.
He represents your case.
तो प्रतिनिधी जावन आसा तुज्या केसीचो.
You may feel there is nothing around you to help you.
तुका दिसता जाय दूर कांयच ना तुका आदार
You may
दिवपाक.
feel that everybody has forsaken
तुका
you.
दिसता जाय दूर सगळ्यान तुका सांडलेलो आसा.
But remember one thing,
पूण उगडाच तर एक वस्त,
we have a mediator.
एक मदलो मनीस आसा.
In fact, in the book of Hebrews chapter 7 verse 25, Hebrews chapter 7 verse 25.
Therefore he is also able to save to the uttermost those who come to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them.
He always lives
तो सदांच येता
to make intercession for them.
तेंचे पासून मागणी
That is
करपाक.
those who go to God through him.
म्हणजे जी कोण त्या सोशी वयता तेच्या वरवीं,
Those who go to God through him.
जी कोण
Through Jesus.
जेजू क्रिस्ता
He
वरवीं
lives
वयता,
to make intercession for them.
तो जेता तेंचे पासून मागणी
That
करपाक.
means we have somebody who's taking our case.
म्हणजे कोण पुणी आसा जो आमची केस वता.
Though we may feel he's not there,
आमकां दिसता जाय गोड की तो ना आमच्या
these
सांगाता.
disciples, they were alone in that boat.
शिष्यांक पंगल ती एकसुरी आसलेली त्या
The
वड्यान.
waves are blowing against
ओसाडी
them.
आसा तेंच्या आड मारता.
They have obeyed Jesus.
तिने जेजूचे उतर
They have
पाळलेले.
listened to Jesus and have obeyed.
जेजूचे तिने उतर ऐकून तिने केलेले पाळलेले
And
तिने.
yet they are facing a
आणि
storm.
तोरी ते वादळाचो फुडो कोत्ता.
But the beauty of it all
पूण सोबीत काय सगळ्याची पोंग
is that
गेल्यार
though he is not in that boat,
की तो त्या वड्यान ना जावन करून
he is on
लेगी
that mountain top.
तो त्या पर्वताचेर आसलोलो.
His eyes fixed on them.
तेजी नदर तेंचेर तीर आसलेली.
And then we see the next thing happening.
मागीर आमी पळयता मुखार कितें जाता ते.
Read from verse 25 onwards. Matthew 14.
Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It's a ghost," and they cried out for fear.
Okay. Now it says, in the fourth watch of the night. That means
हाचो अर्थ
Jesus did not come at that very moment, though he saw them struggling.
जेजून जेन्ना तिंकां पळयलें तेजूच ते जेजू त्याच वेळार येवंक ना.
You know, when we go through a pain in a crisis,
तुम्ही जाणा जेन्ना आमी दुकानसान पास जाता आमच्या आकांतान
आमकां कितें जाय, जेजून आतांच म्हजें मागणें आयकलें. तशेंच जाय न्ही, आतांच. Now. It's like how babies, you know, when they want a chocolate, now means now.
भुरग्या पासून जेन्ना तिंका चॉकलेटी जाय ती म्हणटा आतांच आतांच.
You know, sometimes when kids are hungry,
केन्ना केन्ना जेन्ना भुरगीं भुकेलेलीं आसता,
I'm hungry now.
भुकेलेलीं आसता आतांच.
Now. That means it should be done now.
म्हणल्यार ते आतांच करूंक जाय.
And that's what we do with God.
आनी तेच आमी करता देवा सांगात हा.
When we are rowing in that boat,
जेन्ना आमी
in life's boat,
जेन्ना आमी तांडटा आमच्या
we
बोटी
are facing that
आनी
crisis,
जेन्ना आमी आकांताचो फुडो करता
we tell God now,
आमी देवाक
do it
सांगता
now.
आमी देवाक सांगता आतांच कर.
तूं आतां कोन्ना जाल्यार तुका हांव सोडून वयता. तूं आतां कोन्ना जाल्यार हांव तुजेर विश्वासूच सोडटा. We want it now.
आमकां सगळें आतांच जाय.
But do you know something?
पूण तुमी जाणा कितें पण
God has a perfect time.
देवान उत्तम वेळ थारायलेलो आसा.
When Lazarus died,
जेन्ना लॅझरस मेलो
Jesus did not immediately go.
जेजू रोखडोच वचोंक ना.
In fact, when Lazarus was sick,
जेजू जेन्ना दुयेंस लॅझरस जेन्ना दुयेंस आसलेलो
they sent the message to Jesus.
तिन संदेश धाडलो जेजू सरशी.
And Jesus is supposed to have been somewhere, I mean, Lazarus was supposed to be someone that Jesus loved.
आनी लॅझरस असलो मनीस आसलो जेजू जेजू मोग करतालो त्या फॅमिलीचो.
So Jesus should have immediately gone.
तो जेजून रोखडेच वचोंक जाय आसलेलें.
म्हजो लाजार सामको दुयेंत आसा, वचोंक जाय, चल चल धांवया. दुयेंत आसा म्हण आनी मरपाचें देगेर म्हणल्यार आनीक धांवपाचें. जेजू वचोंकूच ना. आनीक 3 या 4 दीस रावलो थंयसर. He stayed some more days.
तो आनीक दीस रावलो.
What would you and I have said? तेका दिव म्हणपाचें. इतलो ताड घेता, इतलो टायम घेता, आयकोच ना म्हाजें. दुयेंत आसलो, आतां दुयेंत जावन करून आतां मेलो. मातसो गेन कमी कर म्हाजो. आतां दुयेंत जावन मेलो. मरण करून गेलो. परत आनी येतलो. Jesus has not yet come.
जेजू अजून लेगीत येवंक ना.
But do you know something?
पूण तुमी जाणा कितें?
At the perfect time,
उत्तम वेळार
when Lazarus' body had already started stinking,
जेन्ना लॅझरसाची कुडीक वास मारूंक लागलेलो
at that perfect time,
त्या वेळार
Jesus comes,
जेजू येता.
removes the stone,
तो फातर काडूंक
makes
लायता.
them remove the stone,
तेंकां फातर काडूंक
and
लायता
commands Lazarus, come out.
आनी म्हणटा हुकूम दिता लॅझरसाक, लॅझरस भायर सर.
That one word
एका उतरान एका उतरान
brought a change.
बदलो पाडले तेणेन.
You see, that's what our situation is.
तुमचे तशीच जावन आसा आमची परिस्थिती.
When you look into your life,
जेन्ना तूं आपल्या जिवितान पळयता
you may feel God is not coming,
तुका दिसता जाय गो देव येयना,
God is not answering.
देव जबाब दिना.
But I'm telling you,
पूण हांव तुमकां सांगता
God's eyes are on you.
देवाची नदर तुजेर आसा.
At His perfect time,
तेच्या उत्तम वेळार
He will come into your
तो
situation.
येतलोच तुजे परिस्थितीन.
And when He speaks a word,
आनी जेन्ना तो उत्तर उलयता,
no matter how stinking your situation is,
कितलेय वास माता तशी तुजी परिस्थिती आसूं,
that situation will change.
ती परिस्थिती बदलतलीच.
Lazarus was stinking.
लॅझरस वास मारतालो, लॅझरसाची कुडी
Stinking.
वास मारतालो.
In fact, his own family members said, come on, it's so many days, he must be smelling.
तेजे आपले फॅमिलीचे जे मेंबर्स आसले तिने म्हटले तर कितले दीस जाले वास माता घाण माता आसतली.
But he said, remove the stone.
पण त्याने म्हटले फातर काढ.
Spoke a word.
उत्तर उलयले त्याने
Things
आणि
change.
वस्ती बदलल्यो.
When God speaks a word over your life, over your family, over your situation, things will change.
जेन्ना जेजू उलयतलो तुजे परिस्थितीचेर, तुजे जिविताचेर वस्ती बदलतल्योच.
It cannot remain the same.
ते आसा तशें उरची ना.
Cannot.
उरोकूच शकना.
Cannot.
उरोकूच शकना.
But do you know something?
पण तुम्ही जाणा कितें?
If
जरी
they had not removed that stone,
तिन तो फातर काडूंक नासलेलो,
if they had not obeyed,
तिन तो उतर पाडूंक नासलेलें,
they would have not seen the power and the miracle of God.
ती मिलाग्र पोवची नासली, पदवी पोवची नासली देवाची.
That means they had to cooperate with God.
म्हळ्यार तिणी सांगत दिवचो पडलो देवा सांगता.
They had to cooperate with Jesus.
तिणी सांगत दिवचो पडलो
When
जेजूचो.
Jesus gave the command to take off the stone,
जेन्ना जेजून हुकूम दिलो की फातर काड म्हणून,
they had to take it off.
तिणी तो फातर काडचो पडलो.
Let's go into John 11.
आमी या जोहाच्या शुभ वर्तमानान 11व्या विस्वरान.
Okay. Read verse 38 and 39.
Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, "Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days."
Can you imagine your own family member sometimes? You see, Martha, just a few days back, must have loved Lazarus. Just a few days back.
थोड्या दिसा तिने उपमोग केला असतो लॅझरसाचो.
And now Lazarus is in the tomb.
आणि आता लॅझरस म्हणून आसा.
And Jesus is saying, "Come on, let's raise him up."
आणि जेजूस म्हणटा चल तेका जिवो करूया.
And the Martha is saying, "Come on, Jesus, he must be smelling now."
मार्था म्हणटा जेजू कितें वास मात घाण मात
That
आसतली
means
तेची.
I don't want to even see him now.
म्हणल्यार आता तेका म्हाका तेका पोवंक लेगीत
You
नाका.
see how loved ones can change so fast.
पळय कितले मोग कोता ते लोक बदलोंक शकता
But
कितल्या
you see
बेगीन.
God's love.
पूण तुमी जाण देवाचो
No
मोग
matter how stinking your situation is, He still wants to see you.
कितले वास मात तसली तुजी परिस्थिती आसूं तरी तो तुका पोवंक
No matter
सोदतलो.
how stinking your situation is, He still wants to lift you up.
कितलोय घाण मात तसली तुजी परिस्थिती आसूं तरी तो तुका वयर उबारूंक
The
सोदतलो.
same woman
हीच आसतली
who loved her brother so much
जिने आपल्या भावाचो इतको मोग केलेलो.
now is complaining and saying, "He must be smelling. How can I open that stone?"
आता शिंता आनी म्हणटा थंय तेका वास मात घाण मात आसतली कितें कशें हांव उक्तें करूंक शकता.
But that's not what I want to say.
पूण तें हांव सांगूंक
The
सोदिना.
next thing that I want to speak, the point that I want to say is Jesus tells them, "Take away the stone."
जे मुद्दे विशीं हांव उलोवंक सोदता की जेजू तांकां सांगता फातर कुशीक काड तो.
If they had not obeyed,
तीन तर उतर पाडूंक नासलेलें.
if they had not cooperated,
तीन तर सांगात दिवंक नासलेलो.
I don't know what could have happened.
हांव नकळो कितें घडटलें आसलें
You
तें.
see, Jesus could have gone and taken off that stone.
जेजू नासन तो फातर काडूंक जातालो.
काड्या, चल. Let me do it. But God wants your cooperation.
पूण देवाक तुजो सांगात
He
जाय.
works in partnership.
तो पार्टनरशिपान
He
सांगातान काम
works
करता.
along with you.
तो तुज्या सांगाता काम
That's why
करता.
it says, with God,
त्या खातीर अशें म्हटलेलें आसा देवा सांगाता
all things are possible.
सगल्यो गोश्टी घडोवन येता.
What does it say?
कितें म्हणटा?
With God. That means you along with God.
देवा सांगाता म्हटल्यार तूं देवा सांगाता.
With God.
देवा सांगाता.
All things are possible for one who believes.
सगल्यो गोश्टी घडोवन ते जो कोण स्वत मानतात.
That means God will do it.
म्हळ्यार देव करतलो.
You also need to do something.
तुवें कितें करूंक जाय?
You need to you need to work along with Him.
तुवें तेजे सांगाता काम करूंक जाय.
As He says, you act
जसो तूं सांगता तुवें करूंक जाय.
and you see.
आनी तूं पळयतलो.
Okay. So now we go back into Matthew 14.
तर आमी परत या मत्याचें शुभ वर्तमान 14व्या विस्वरान.
Matthew chapter 14, verse 26 onwards.
And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It's a ghost." And they cried out for fear. And immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Be of good cheer. It is I. Do not be afraid."
Okay. Now Jesus is speaking a word.
आतां जेजू उतर उलयता.
Be of good cheer.
धीर धरात.
Take courage.
धीर धरात.
It is I.
हांव तो.
Don't be afraid.
भिये नाका.
Let's read further.
मुखार वाचया.
And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." So he said, "Come." And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased.
Okay. Now it says here,
आतां अशें म्हटलेलें आसा थंय.
Peter answered him, verse 28.
पेतून जबाब दिलो तेका.
Lord,
दोनिया
if it is you,
जर तर तूं
command me
म्हाका हुकूम दी
to come to you on the water.
तुजे सुरशे येवपाक उदकाचेर चलो.
In simple words, what Peter is saying,
सोप्या उतरान पळोवंक गेल्यार पेद्रो अशें म्हणटा,
God or
Yeah.
Jesus,
जेजू
if it is you,
जर तर तूं
if it is the one whom I know,
जे देवाक हांव करता तो तर तूं.
if it is you whom I know,
तूं तर तो जेका हांव कोता
then command me and I will do it.
जाल्यार हुकूम दी म्हाका आनी हांव कोत्तलो.
That means what Peter is saying
हाजो पेद्रो असो म्हणटा
is, I know who you are.
हांव जाणा तूं कोण तो.
I know what you are able to do.
हांव जाण तुजे कडेन कितें घडटा तें.
I know what authority you
हांव
have.
जाण कसलो अधिकार आसा तुजे
I know the
कडेन.
miracles that you have done.
हांव जाण तूं कसली मिलाग्र केलेली आसा
I
ती.
know you.
हांव तुका वळखता.
And if it is the same God,
आनी तोच तर तूं
then
देव.
you speak
तूं उलयता
and I will see it happen.
आनी हांव पळयतलो घडटा तें.
You see, your personal encounter, your personal walk with God is very important.
तुजो खासगी अनुभव देवा सांग, तुजो खासगी चलप देवा सांग खूब महत्वाचें जावन आसा.
If you don't have your personal walk with God,
तुजे आपले खासगी संबंध ना चलप ना तो देवा सांगता जाल्यार
you are not going to grow in faith.
तूं पावार्थान वाडची ना.
You are not going to see the supernatural power, the presence of God.
तूं विस्मिताची पदवी आनी देवाची हाजीरपण पळोवची ना.
You have to have your encounter.
तुजो आपलो अनुभव आसूंक जाय देवा
You
सांगता.
have to know your God.
तूं आपल्या देवाक वळखोंक जाय.
Peter knew his Jesus.
पेद्रो वळखतालो आपले जेजू.
Peter loved his Jesus.
पेद्रो मोग कोतालो आपले जेजूचो.
Peter spent time with his Jesus.
पेद्रून वेळ सालो जेजू
And
सांगता.
that's why he says, if it is you,
आनी त्या खातीर तो म्हणटा जर तो तूं
command me.
म्हाका हुकूम दी.
Then Jesus says, come.
आनी मुखार जेजू म्हणटा
Now
की यो.
Jesus has spoken a word.
आतां जेजून उतर उलयलेलें
He
आसा.
spoken the word.
तेणी उतर उलयलेलें आसा.
Now we know
आतां आमी जाणा
when God speaks a word,
जेन्ना देव उतर उलयता
expect even the impossible to be possible.
तो चितकी आगोड आसा ते पासून घडोवन येतोलें.
Always remember this.
सदांच उगडास आसता
When
तें.
God speaks a word,
जेन्ना देव उतर उलयता
and I tell you,
आनी हांव तुमकां सांगता
God can use anybody,
देव कोणाकूय उजार करूंक शकता.
anything,
खंयचे
to
वस्तीक
start speaking to you.
तुजे कडेन उलोवंक लागपाक.
Can even use a donkey.
तो गाडवाक लेगीत उजार करूंक शकता.
So, when God speaks a word,
तो जेन्ना देव उतर उलयता
expect the impossible to be possible.
चितकी आगोड आसा ते घडोवन येतोलें.
No matter how difficult your situation is,
कितल्याय कठीण तुजी परिस्थिती आसूं
expect the impossible to become possible.
अशें धरात की आगोड आसा ते घडोवन येतोलेंच.
Remember,
उगडास धरात
when somebody comes
जेन्ना कोण येता
and speaks a word that's from God over your life,
आनी उतर उलयता जी देवा कडच्यान जावन आसा तुज्या जिविताचेर,
don't ignore it.
बेपरवा कोण नाका.
Don't live by it.
ते-
Don't live by it.
त्या वरवीं जे नाका,
Don't ignore it.
बेपरवाय कोण नाका,
But keep it somewhere secretly.
पूण हुंय पण दोरात ते गुपी.
Because one day God is going to show it come to pass.
एक दिसा देव दाखयतलोच ते पुरावे जावन
He
येता
will
ते.
bring it to reality.
तो सत करून हाडटलोच
And we
ते.
see Jesus now tells his disciple, tells Peter, come.
आनी आतां जेजू पेद्रूक सांगता यो.
Now Peter
आतां पेद्रू
comes out.
येता भायर.
He's walking on the
तो
water.
आतां उदकाचेर चलता.
Isn't it good?
ते बरें न्हू काय?
It's amazing.
अजापाचें.
But you see how Peter nullifies that same word.
पूण आमी पळयता पेद्रू कसो नाकारता ना करता ती पदवी उतराची.
That power of that word come, because when God speaks, it is established.
जेन्ना देव उलयता ते स्थापीत जातात.
When God has told Peter, you can walk on the water, means you can walk on the
जेन्ना
water.
देवान पेद्रूक सांगलेलें आसा तूं उदकाचेर चलोवंक शकता म्हणजे तूं उदकाचेर चलोवंक शकतास.
But after the few moments,
पूण थोड्या वेळा उपरांत आमी
we
पळयता
see something else happen.
आमी पळयता आनी कितें घडटा तें.
Peter begins to sink.
पेद्रू बुडोवंक लागता.
That same water
तेच उदक
where he was walking,
जेन्ना तो चलतालो
now he's beginning to sink.
आतां तो बुडोवंक लागता त्या उदकान.
What was the reason?
कितें काय कारण आसा?
Why is it, or how is it that we can stop, or we can nullify the word that is spoken over our life?
कशी काय आमी ना करूंक शकता पदवी उतराची जी जेजून उलयलेली आसा आमच्या जिविताचेर.
We see what happened here.
आमी पळयता कितें
In
जाता
verse
तें.
29. Matthew 14 verse 29.
So he said, come. And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying,
Okay. So he says, when he saw the wind,
जेन्ना तेणें वारें पळयलें.
there are two things that I see in this.
दोन वस्ती म्हाका दिश्टी पडटा हितून.
The first thing is,
पयली वस्त म्हटल्यार
when he saw when he saw his environment, or when he saw his situation, when he saw his circumstance.
जेन्ना त्याने आपली परिस्थिती पळयली, जेन्ना त्याने आपले वातावरण पळयलें,
You see, no matter what your circumstance is,
कितें आसूं तुजी परिस्थिती,
we don't live by what we see, we live by faith.
आमी कितें पळयता त्या प्रमाणे जियेना, पूण आमी भावार्थ वरवीं जियेता.
No matter what your circumstance tells you,
तुजी परिस्थिती तुका कितेंय सांगो न्ही,
no matter what the doctors have diagnosed about you,
दोतोरान कितेंय तपासलें जायत गो तुज्या विशीं,
we do not live by what we see, we live by the one who is greater than what we see.
आमी कितें पळयता त्या प्रमाणे जियेना, पूण आमी जियेता जोगून व्हरतो जावन आसा, जे कितें आमी पळयता तेच्याकून.
You see, the first reason Peter could not see what Jesus had spoken over his life continue is because he began to see the things around him.
आमी पळयता पेद्रू पळोवंक पावना, जे कितें जेजून उलयलें तेच्या जिविताचेर आनी शेगीत तो चलत पावंक ना, कित्याक तो परिस्थितीक पळोवंक लागलो.
Because he began to see his situation.
कित्याक तो आपली परिस्थितीक पळोवंक लागलो.
You see, sometimes God has spoken a financial breakthrough over your life,
केन्ना केन्ना देवान उतर उलयलें आसा पयशाची विजमिताय तुज्या जिवितांत,
but right now you have nothing with you.
पूण ह्या वेळी कांयच ना तुजे कडेन.
And then God is the word of God tells you, come on, sow, stand by my principles, start sowing.
आनी जेन्ना देवाचें उतर तुका सांगता रोयात आनी म्हाज्या नेमा प्रमाणे करात, रोवंक लागात.
But naturally what we'll do,
पूण सादारणपणान आमी कितें करतले काय,
माझी परिस्थिती दिना रे म्हाका रोवपाक. My situation is not letting me do things.
म्हाजी परिस्थिती म्हाका करूंक दिना
And
तें.
because we begin to follow our circumstances, keeping our eyes on what we are going through rather than one who can take us through it all,
आनी आमी आमची परिस्थितीक पळयता जावन करून, आनी आमी देवाक पळयना जो आमकां ते परिस्थिती वरवीं भायर काडूंक शकता,
we don't begin to see our breakthrough.
आमी आमची विजमीत पळोवंक पावना.
And then we wonder,
आनी मागीर आमी चिंत्ता,
God, you said it.
देवा तुवें सांगलेलें तें,
God, you promised
देवा
it.
तुवें भासायलेलें
God,
तें,
you spoke over
देवा
it.
तुवें उलयलेलें तें,
God, you told that preacher to prophesy for
देवा तुवें
me.
तें प्रचार करपाक सांगलेलें, भाकणी कर म्हणून
But I
म्हाजें,
don't see it.
पूण आतां म्हाका दिश्टी पडना तें घडटा
But my
तें.
question is,
पूण म्हाजो प्रश्न जावन आसा,
have we kept our eyes on God, or have we kept our eyes on our situation?
आमी आमची नदर देवाचेर दवरलेली आसा काय आमी आमची नदर परिस्थितीचेर दवरलेली आसा आमची?
Because Jesus told Peter, come.
कित्याक जेजून पेद्रूक सांगलेलें यो,
That means he should have walked till he reached Jesus.
म्हणल्यार तो चलत रावंक जाय आसलो जेजूस हरशी पाव पर्यंत.
That means he should have walked and reached Jesus, and Jesus and he together should have walked back.
म्हणल्यार तो चलत जेजूस हरशी पावंक जाय आसलो आनी जेजू आनी तो परतो पावंक जाय आसलो वड्यान.
Why did he sing?
कित्याक काय तो बुडलो?
Why did that word come not be fulfilled?
कित्याक काय ते उतर यो आसलेले ते पुरावे जावंक पावंक ना?
Because he began to see his environment.
कित्याक तो आपल्या वातावरणाक पळोवंक लागलो.
You want the word of God to be fulfilled in your life?
तुमकां जर देवाचे उतर पुरावे जाले तुमच्या जिवितांत,
If you want the word, the prophecy, or the word of knowledge that has been spoken over you come to reality,
तुमकां पळोवंक जाय जी भाकणी ना, जी जाणवेची उतर तुमच्या जिविताचेर उरलेलें आसा ते सोद जावन येता ते.
stop looking at your circumstance.
बंद करात तुमची परिस्थितीक पळोवपाचें.
Stop living by what you are going through.
जे कितें तूं वयता त्या प्रमाणे जिवपाचें बंद करात.
Even if you are going through a financial problem, live like a king, because you have a great God.
तुझे तूं पयशाच्या आकांतान लेगीत पासत जाता जायत गो, तूं राज भशेन जिये, कित्याक तुजो देव व्हरता देव.
Even if you are sick right now, rejoice, because you know that you serve the healer.
तूं दुयेंस लेगीत आसा जायत गो, तूं जिये सारको आनंद भरीत जिवीत, कित्याक तूं चाकरी करता पेकोंडाराची.
Even though you may feel that you are at the lowest point of your life, still rejoice, because we know that right now, though you are going through mourning, God is going to turn it to dancing.
जायत गो तूं ल्हान परिस्थितींसान पासत जायत गो, पूण तूं आनंद भरीत जावन करून जिये, कित्याक आतां जायत गो तूं दुकानसान पासत जाता, पूण तुजें दूख आसा तें देव बदलतलो नाचपान.
We don't live by what we are going through now.
आमी जे कित्यानसान पासत जाता त्या प्रमाणे आमी जियेना.
We live in the great hope of what God is going to be doing in the days to come.
आमी व्हरते भरवोसान जियेता, जाणा जावन करून की देव व्हरती कामां करपाचो आसा फुडाराक.
So one reason
तर एक कारण
is when you begin to live by your circumstance.
जेन्ना तूं आपल्या परिस्थिती प्रमाणे जियेता,
My circumstance.
जे परिस्थिती प्रमाणे.
We don't live under the circumstance.
आमी आमच्या परिस्थिती खाला जियेना,
We always live over the
आमी
circumstance.
आमच्या परिस्थिती वयर जियेता.
You know, sometimes if you're going through a problem
केन्ना केन्ना जेन्ना तूं त्रासांसान पासत जाता
and somebody asks you, how are you doing?
आनी कोण पण तुका विचारता कसो आसा तूं,
Some of us may reply, under the circumstances, okay.
थोडी जाणां म्हणटा आसतना परिस्थिती खाला आसा.
No.
ना ना ना
We are not such people.
आमी असली मनशां न्हय.
I want to walk over waters.
हांव उदकाचेर चलोंक
I don't
सोदता.
want to sink.
हांव बुडोंक सोदिना.
And if I'm going to look at my situation, I am going to sink.
आनी हांव म्हजे परिस्थितीक पळोवंक गेल्यार हांव बुडटलेंच.
If I want to walk,
हांव तर चलोंक सोदता.
I've got to take my eyes off my situation.
हांवें म्हजी परिस्थिती वयले दोळे काडूंक
I
जाय.
have to take my eyes away from my
हांवें
circumstance.
म्हजी परिस्थिती वयले नदर काडूंक जाय.
And I will walk.
आनी हांव चलतलोंच.
Because when he spoke a word,
कित्याक जेन्ना तेणें उतर उलयलें
he
आसा
will fulfill the
तो
word.
पुरावे कोत्तलोच उतर.
Hallelujah.
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 So if you are seeing the word not being
तर
fulfilled,
तूं तर पळय तो उतर पुरावे जावन येना ते.
if a prophet came and prophesied over you,
जर तर एक वाकणारी येवन कोण भाकणी
and
केली
you're not
तुजेर
seeing it
आनी
happening,
तुका ती घडटा ती दिश्टी पडना
don't blame a prophet.
तेचेर गुन्यांव घाल नाका
Don't
तूं.
blame the preacher.
त्या प्रिचराचेर गुन्यांव घाल नाका.
Blame yourself.
तूं आपल्याचेर गुन्यांव घाल.
Maybe he was a false prophet.
जायत गो तो फाल्स प्रवादी आसलो.
Maybe he was some donkey.
जायत गो कोण गाडो आसलो तो.
But I believe one thing.
पूण हांव एक वस्त सत
If you
मानता.
love God,
तूं तो देवाचो मोग करता.
God will use anybody and anybody
देव कोणाकूय जार करतलो
to speak to you.
तुजे कडेन उलोवपाक.
The second reason,
दुसरें कारण
he says, so let's read that once again, verse 30.
And when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Lord, save me.
Okay. So basically, he has not only seen his circumstance,
तेणे फक्त आपली परिस्थितीकूच पळोवंक नासलेलें,
but he's also seeing or kept his eyes on the worldly pattern.
तेणे आपली नदर दवरली संवसार पॅटर्नाचेर.
What is the worldly pattern?
कितें गो संवसार पॅटर्न?
See, the natural pattern is
आमी सादारण पॅटर्न पळोवंक गेल्यार
what you throw up comes down. That is gravity.
उंच उडयता ते सकयल येतलेच, ताका ग्रॅविटी म्हणटा आमी.
There is nothing as Superman here. Everybody comes down.
सगळे
You throw
येतात.
somebody up, they have to come down.
तूं कोणाक वयर उडयता सकयल येतलोच.
That's nature.
तो सैम जावन आसा.
The next thing is,
फुडली वस्त
when you look at the pattern,
जेन्ना आमी पॅटर्नाक पळयता,
okay, if there is a wind,
जर तर वारें
if
मारता,
there is a storm,
वादळ येता,
we naturally want shelter.
आमकां सादारणपण नासरो जाय.
If there is a crisis,
आकांत आसा,
or if there is some kind of a what you would say, cyclone
जर तर वादळ येता,
or windstorm.
वादळ येता जाल्यार
So these are natural things.
ह्यो सादारण वस्ती
These are
सैमान प्रमाणे.
natural
ह्यो
calamities.
सैमान घडटा वस्ती तसल्यो.
And according to the natural realm, the worldly realm,
आनी संवसार तरा प्रमाणे पळोवंक गेल्यार
we cannot fight it.
आमी झगडोंक जायना
If
तेचे
it
कडेन.
rains heavy right now
जर तर
outside,
नेटान तर पावस पडटा ह्या वेळार
okay,
जोरान,
and as you're traveling,
आनी जसो तूं वयता,
the natural realm says if you're on a bike, you're going to get wet, so you better cover yourself.
सादारणपण पळोवंक गेल्यार तूं तर बायकीर आसा तूं ओलो जातलोच, त्या तुवें आपल्याक तापोवन घेवंक
But
जाय.
one thing we know,
पूण एक वस्त आमी जाणा,
though we are living in the natural world,
आमी संवसार सैमाचे राजवटीन जियेता आसतो न्ही,
we serve a supernatural God.
आमी विस्मिताचे देवाक नमस्कार
Let me
करता.
say it again.
परतो म्हणूंक सोदता.
We are living in a natural world,
जाल्यार आमी सादारण संवसारान
but
जियेता,
we serve a supernatural God
पूण आमी असाधारण आसा ते देवाक
who's
नमस्कार
got
करता.
authority over everything on planet Earth.
तेका अधिकार सगल्या वस्तीचेर ह्या
When He
पृथ्वीच्या.
speaks,
जेन्ना तो उलयता,
things happen.
वस्ती घडटा.
When He commands the rain to stop,
Jen-
it will stop.
जेन्ना तो पावसाक हुकूम दिता बंद जा म्हणून तो थांबतलोच
When He
पावस.
commands the wind to stop, it will stop.
जेन्ना तो वारेक दिता हुकूम की बंद जा म्हणून तो थांबतलोच
If there is
वारें.
an earthquake, He commands it to close, it will close.
जर तो भूकंप जाल्लो आसा तो ते जमनीक सांगता बंद जा म्हणून दापून या म्हणून तो
We
दापतली.
serve a supernatural God.
आमी विस्मिताचे देवाक नमस्कार
And now
करता.
since I serve a supernatural God,
आनी आतां विस्मिताचे देवाक नमस्कार करता जावन
though the
करून.
natural realm tells me I need to behave in a certain pattern,
जायत गोंय सादारण सैम आसा तो म्हाका सांगता आसतलो की अशे भशेन वाग म्हणून तूं.
I need to learn to be sensitive to God. And if He spoke in a word, even though it is contrary to the natural pattern, I still obey Him.
हांवें शिकोवंक जाय देवाचो ताळो आयकपाक आनी ते जायत गोडे असाधारण आसा जायत गोडे पूण तरी हांवें तेजें उतर पाडूंक जाय.
We were having a meeting in Andhra
आंध्र
Pradesh,
प्रदेशान आमची एक मिटींग आसलेली
and in the evening,
आनी दोनपारां
no, in the morning,
सकाळचे?
hailstorm, morning, no? Yeah. At 2:30,
अडेजांक
ice cubes were falling from the skies.
आयसाचे पीसेस ते पडटाले.
First time we saw it, I don't know about you, yeah, both of us. For the first time I had seen ice cubes falling.
पहिले फावटी आमी पळयले आयस अशे पडटा ते.
Okay, and we were like so excited and happy and running, and that night was our meeting.
आणि त्या रातीक आमची मीटिंग असलेली. मीटिंग असलेली.
And we are excited collecting those, ice pieces and seeing it, and the meeting people come to us and they are saying, it's here, because it had started raining after that, very heavy rains.
So net and pass पडटालो थंय.
And they come to me and they're saying, it's raining. I don't think there's going to be a meeting. That's the natural realm now.
ते आता लोकीन म्हणूंक लागले पावस चड नेटान पडटा आनी म्हाका दिसना मीटिंग जातली म्हणून.
We were laughing.
आमी हांसूंक
We
लागले.
said, no ways.
आमी म्हणले कशीच भाशेन.
God has brought us here. He has to finish the meeting.
देवान तरी हाडलेले आसा जाल्यार तो मीटिंग सोंपयतलो.
Don't cancel it.
कॅन्सल कर नाका
We
मीटिंग.
are going to have it.
मीटिंग आसतलीच आमची.
The organizers were little scared.
ते ऑर्गनायझर्स आसले ते सामके भिलेले.
But exactly maybe an hour or so before the meeting could start, the rain ceases.
पूण मीटिंग कमी जावच्या एका वरा आदी पावस असो थांबलो.
Complete dry weather.
सामके सुके जाले वातावरण.
And we have a good meeting.
आनी बरी मीटिंग जाली.
Another time.
आनी एका वेळार
Heavy rains.
सारकी नेटान
in
पावस
Andhra
पडटालो.
Pradesh.
आंध्र प्रदेशानूच
Heavy rains.
नेटान पावस पडटालो.
And that night is our crusade. We were getting around 6,000-7,000 people for that meeting.
त्या राती क्रुसेड आसलेली 6,000-7,000 लोक येताले मिटिंगेक.
And everybody was upset because now it's raining.
सगळी जाण बेजार जाले आतां पावस पडटा
We
म्हणून.
said we'll continue praying. We know God will work.
आमी जाल्यार मागणी करीत रावया कित्याक आमी जाण देव काम करतलो म्हणून.
By evening the weather stopped.
सांज जाता म्हटल्यार
The rain stopped.
पावस बंद
We
जालो.
had a meeting.
मीटिंग जाली आमची.
Finished it.
कवर जाली मीटिंग.
And went back
आनी परती गेली
to
आमी
our lodge, to our hotel.
आमच्या हॉटेल लॉजान.
When we reached back,
जेन्ना आमी परती पावली
we got a testimony.
आमकां गोवायकी आयकूंक
And the
लागल्यो.
testimony said
आनी
this.
अशी आसलेली गोवायकी.
You know,
तुमी जाणा
1 kilometer around the
1
ground,
किलोमीटर सोर भोंवतणी ग्राउंडाच्या
it was raining all over
सगळ्याक पावस पडटालो.
except that place.
तो जागो सोडूनच.
You see, our God is a God of the supernatural.
तुम्ही जाणा आमचो देव आसा तो साधारण कामां करपी देव.
I don't think it is normal, no?
साधारण
1
न्हू.
kilometer radius सोडून सगळ्याक पावस पडटा. त्याच जाग्यार पावस पडना ज्या जाग्यार आमी मिटींग करता. I don't know if it is normal,
म्हणून काही साधारण काय म्हणून.
but I know it is supernaturally possible.
पूण हांव जाणा साधारणपणान करता.
That's our God.
तो आमचो देव.
If God has told you something, you do it.
देवान तर तुका सांगलेलें कितें करपाक चल करूच तूं तें.
Don't live by the natural realm if God has told you to move into the supernatural.
तूं सैमापण साधारण परिस्थितीक पळोवन येनाका जर तो देवान तुका सांगलें असाधारण कामां कर विस्मितान कामां कर म्हणून.
If God told Peter, come on water,
देवान तर पेद्रूक सांगलें उदकाचेर चलोन यो म्हणून.
that water became a road.
ते उदक आसलें ते रस्तो जालो.
To the physical eyes,
कुडी प्रमाण पळोवंक गेल्यार
according to nature,
सैमा प्रमाण पळोवंक गेल्यार
when you go into the water,
जेन्ना तूं उदकार वयतलो
you should go down.
आमी बुडोकूच जाय.
You may take 3 breaths up and then you have to go down.
जायत गो 3 फावट वयर येत पूण मागीर बुडटलोच तूं.
That's what naturally happens.
ते साधारणपणान घडटा.
But that same water
पूण तेच उदक
Peter is walking on.
त्या उदकाचेर पेद्रू चलता.
The moment he begins to see the nature,
ज्या वेळार तो सैमाक पळोवंक
he
लागता
begins to look into his circumstance.
तो आपल्या परिस्थितीक पळोवंक
He
लागता.
begins to move into the natural realm.
तो साधारण सैमा प्रमाणच्या राजवटकीन भितर सरता
He begins to sink.
आनी बुडोवंक लागता.
Remember,
उगडास तो रात.
first,
पयलीं म्हटल्यार
don't be ruled by your circumstance.
तुमच्या परिस्थितीक तुमचेर राज करूंक दिनाका.
Second,
दुसरी गोष्ट
move or live in the supernatural realm of God.
असाधारण विस्मिताच्या राजवटकीन जिया देवाच्या.
Your God is not only a God who will pamper you and say, okay, हांव काम करतलो आनी कोरीच ना तसलो देव न्हय. He is a God who moves supernaturally.
तो देव आमचो विस्मितान असाधारणपणान काम करता.
He moves.
तो काम
He
करता.
still works.
तो अजून लेगीत
He
काम
has
करता.
not stopped working.
त्याने काम करपाचें बंद करूंक ना.
He still works supernatural
तो
miracles.
अजून लेगीत विस्मितांनी कामां करता.
There are still testimonies of the greatness of God.
अजून लेगीत आमी गोवायकी आयकता देवाच्या व्हडविकाये विशीं.
Third thing,
तिसरी गोष्ट
in all these things,
हे सगळे वस्तींनी
okay, one is keeping your eyes on the
पहिले
circumstance.
म्हटल्यार तुजी नदर परिस्थितीचेर दवरप.
2 is keeping your eyes on the natural realm.
दुसरें म्हटल्यार साधारण सैमापरमाच्या राजवटकीचेर तुजी नदर
Three.
दवरप. तिसरें म्हटल्यार
Is fear.
भिरांत.
You see, it says, okay, verse 30, read please.
But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Lord, save me.
Fear.
भिरांत.
Never let fear rule you.
केन्नाच भिरांतीक तुजेर राज करूंक दिनाका.
Don't let fear tell you how you should live.
तू भिरांतीक तुका सांगूंक दिनाका कशें तुवें जिवपाचें तें.
Fear comes.
भिरांत येता.
It's natural.
साधारण ती.
But
पूण
when you are going through those moments,
जेन्ना तूं त्या वेळासान पासर जाता,
let the word of God tell you how you should react.
त्याच्या उतरान तुका सांगनी कशें तें चलोंक जाय
When
तें.
you're going through those panic moments,
जेन्ना तूं सारकें आकांताच्या वेळासान पासर जाता,
let the word of God tell you how you should react.
त्याच्या उतरान तुका सांगनी कशें तुवें वागोंक जाय
And
तें.
when God's word begins to direct you,
आनी जेन्ना देवाचें उतर तुका दिशा दाखयता,
He will give you the victory.
तो तुका जय
Can
दितलोच.
you imagine Jesus spoke the word come
तुमी चिंतूंक शकता जेजून उतर उलयलें यो
and He
म्हणून,
walked?
आनी तो चलोंक लागलो.
Yet because of His attitude, things changed.
तरी तेच्या वागणुकेक लागून वस्ती बदलल्यो.
Today God may have spoken over your life.
आज जायत कोणी ध्यान उलयलें आसता तुज्या
Maybe some
जिविताचेर.
preacher spoke over
जायत
you.
खंयचे प्रचार करप्यान
Maybe
उलयलें
somebody
आसतलें.
gave a message.
जायत कोणी कसलो
Or
संदेश दिला
maybe
आसतलो.
when you were praying, you got a
वा
word.
जायत कोणी तूं मागणें करता तुका उतर मेळलें
And you're
आसतलें.
waiting for that
आनी
word.
तूं रावला त्या उतरा पासत.
And you're waiting.
आनी तूं रावला.
And you're waiting.
आनी तूं रावला.
Nothing seems to be
आनी
happening.
कांयच करना कशें दिसता.
Could it be?
जायत कोणी खाय.
Could it be
जायत कोणी.
that you have kept your eyes on these
तूं
circumstances?
आपली नदर परिस्थितीचेर दवरला आसतली.
Could it be
जायत कोणी.
that you are letting the natural realm determine how you live?
जायत कोणी तूं सैमाप्रमाणे साधारण परिस्थितीक सांगता कशें तुवें जिवपाचें तें.
Could it be
जायत कोणी
that you
खाय.
have let fear grip you
जायत कोणी भिरांतेक तुजो चपको घेवंक दिला आसतलो.
when there's only one thing that you should do?
आनी एकूच वस्तू करूंक जाय.
In fact, two.
दोन वस्ती.
Keep your eyes on God
तुजी नदर देवाचेर ती दवरपाची
and obey.
आनी उतर पाडपाची.
Two things.
दोन वस्ती.
Keep your eyes on God.
तुजी नदर देवाचेर ती दवरपाची
obey.
आनी उतर पाडपाची
That's what
तेजेर.
Peter had done in the beginning.
तेच पेद्रून केलें सुरवातेक.
He said,
तेणी
if it
म्हटलें,
is you,
जर तो तूं
command me
म्हाका हुकूम दी
and I will come.
आनी हांव येतलो.
And it says,
आनी अशें म्हटलेलें
Peter
आसा.
said, Jesus said, come.
जेजून म्हटलें यो.
And when it says, and when he saw the wind, that means all this while he did not see the wind.
म्हणलें इतको वेळ तेणी ते वाऱ्याक पळोवंक
It
नासलेलें.
means he did not see the storm.
म्हणलें तेणी वादळाक पळोवंक
Even though there
नासलेलें.
was.
वादळ आसून लेगीत.
Because his eyes were fixed on Jesus.
कित्याक तेजी नदर जेजूचेर आसलेली.
Jesus said, come.
जेजून म्हटलें यो.
I'm going to keep my eyes fixed on my destination.
हांव म्हाजी नदर आसा ती डेस्टिनेशनाचेर
I'm going to
दवरतलें.
fix my eyes on him
हांव म्हाजी नदर तेजेर ती दवरतलें.
and
आनी
obey.
उतर पाडटलो.
That's what you need to do.
तेच तुवें करूंक जाय.
When you get a word,
जेन्ना उतर येता
don't live by that word.
ते उतरा प्रमाणे चेनाकात.
Take that word,
ते उतर घे.
write it in some book
ते बरोय खंयच्या पुस्तकाचेर.
Keep it.
दवर तें
and look at him.
आनी तेका पळय.
Look at the author, the finisher of your faith.
बरोवपी ना काबार करपी तेजेर दवरी तुज्या
Keep your
बाबा.
eyes fixed on Jesus.
तुजी नदर जेचेरच ती
And
दवरी.
what he has said,
आनी जें कितें तेणें सांगलेलें आसा.
obey.
उतर पाड.
As you obey,
जशी तुमी उतर पाडटली
you will see that word
तुमी तें उतर
come to reality.
पुरावे जावन तें सच जावन
Because
येतलें.
when he speaks,
जेन्ना तो उलयता
your life can never be the same.
तुजें जिवीत आसा तशें उरचेंच ना.
When he speaks,
जेन्ना तो उलयता
the impossible becomes possible.
आगोड आसा तें घडोवन येतलेंच.
When he
जेन्ना
speaks,
तो उलयता
no matter how much man has spoken about your situation,
मनशान कितलें उलयलें आसता तुजे परिस्थिती विशीं.
when he speaks,
जेन्ना तो उलयता
your situation will change.
तुजी परिस्थिती बदलतलीच.
You see, man has a tendency to speak over your life looking at your circumstance.
मनीस तुज्या जिविताचेर उलयतलो तुजे परिस्थितीक पळोवन करून.
But God,
पूण देव
he knows the end from the beginning.
तो शेवट आनी तो निमाणो आनी सुरवातूय जाणा.
And he speaks over your life
आनी तो तुज्या जिविताचेर उलयता
not because what you are,
तूं आसा तेका पळोवन करून न्हय.
but looking at what you should become.
पूण कोण तूं जावपाचो आसा आनी
Where
कितें
he
जावंक
wants
जाय तें
to
पळोवन
take
करून
you.
ज्या जाग्यार तो तुका व्हरोंक सोदता.
When he speaks over your life,
जेन्ना तो तुज्या जिविताचेर उलयता
you can never be the same.
तूं केन्नाच असो तो सोडचें ना.
Keep your eyes fixed on him.
तुजें आतां तेजेर ती दवरी.
Obey him.
तेजें उतर पाड.
Don't let this environment your circumstance rule you.
तुज्या परिस्थितीक न्हू तुज्या वातावरणाक तुजेर राज करूंक दिनाका.
Maybe you're going through a very bad time.
जाल्यार तूं सामकें वायट वेळासान पास जाता आसतलो.
Maybe you must be saying, oh, brother, कितें सोजमता तो वगत उलयता. But I want to tell you,
पूण हांव तुमकां सांगूंक सोदतां,
his eyes are on you.
तेजे नदर तुजेर आसा
And he knows.
आनी तो जाणा.
He knows your situation.
तो जाणा तुजी परिस्थिती.
He knows your crisis.
तो जाणा तुजें आकांत.
He knows how you have given up.
तो जाणा कशें तुवें सोडून दिलेलें आसा.
He knows how people have put you or treated you like junk.
तो जाणा कसो लोकांनी तुका कचरो कसो वागयलेलो आसा.
But you know something?
पूण तुमी जाणा कितें?
He wants to lift you up.
तो तुका वयर पारूंक सोदता.
And when he gets into your life,
जेन्ना तो तुज्या जिवितान येता,
nobody else can mess your life up.
कोणूच तुजें जिवीत आनी घालूंक शकना.
When he puts your life in order,
जेन्ना तो तुजें जिवीत नितार हाडटलो,
nobody can mess your life up.
कोणूच तुजें जिवीत आनी कुफसाण घालूंक शकना.